Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I have said on this platform many times that Zimbabwe is a failed state. There are many reasons, many reasons one can give why Zimbabwe is a failed state. But at the heart of all those reasons is the common thread, the one common thread, and that is we are failing ourselves. We have repeatedly failed to think in a rational manner. I think Zimbabweans have fallen into this trap where we let others do the thinking for us. And that doesn't work. And this is the reason why we are a failed state. Here is one other Zimbabwean who is addressing exactly that point, the failure to think for ourselves. Many of you are very familiar with him on social media. He has appeared a few times. I'll let him speak for himself.
Saka nas ndombotaura pamusoro hunhu wevanhu vari muZimbabwe. I just want to play a little bit of a psychologist behavioral analysis, or whatever you want to call it today. It takes a certain type of person to find hope in poverty. You know, there are certain people that haven't freed themselves yet. And if you haven't freed yourself yet, yes, we can blame Zanu PF and the regime for a lot of things, as you know and as I do. Asi pane zvimwe zvinhu zvekuti unongoona kuti vanhu pachezvavo muZimbabwe pfungwa dzavo dzakadhakwa. And that's what I want to talk about today. We have a lot of people that are sending messages to join VVZ. And a lot of them are genuine, and unfortunately the writing of the book is taking up all the time, and I'm not having any time to respond to messages. I will eventually get there. I apologize if I haven't yet. Kana uri munhu ari muZimbabwe uchitenga sweet and you take that packet of chips or that sweet wrapper and you throw it on the floor, you are part of the problem. Kana uri murume ari kuda kushandisa toilet, unongomira paside pe road waitira wait pamadziro pamashops evanhu, you are part of the problem. You know what amazes me a lot about the Zimbabwe social media stuff is I see a lot of photos and a lot of videos of people that look really smart. I mean really smart. I mean like nice clothes, not necessarily brands, but nice clothes, nice shoes, nice everything, and they take a picture and they put it on Facebook and it looks lovely. And then you look at the background of that picture and you ask yourself, munhu ari normal here? Boots dzako dze white dzauri kuda kupfeka paunongobuda pado pepamba paunogara pado wakutsika madhaga. But boots dzako dze $30-40 ndedze white. Hembe dzako kunaka, meno kunaka sei, but window yepamba pako haina paint for the last 25 or...
I'll stop it there. I think the point is trying to make there, I totally agree with him, is some of the things that we Zimbabweans have failed to do are obvious. I'll take it from another different angle. Ever since the 2023 elections, I have engaged many people on social media. And the argument has been very simple. That Chamisa lied about him plugging the vote rigging loopholes to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections. And yet, 2 years down the line, it is still an issue. There are some people out there who will not accept that Chamisa lied. The tragedy is they accepted the lie because he told them that MDC was going to win the elections. And he has plugged the vote rigging loopholes. There is no way Zanu PF was going to rig the elections. They believed him. That was an idiotic lie. That cannot be denied. Because we all know, for instance, that the voters' roll was in shambolic conditions. Tim Pachedu did a wonderful job and showed that Zimbabwe's voters' roll was in a shambolic condition. Did Chamisa plug those vote rigging loopholes that are created by shambolic voters' roll? Obviously, those people believed it. We also know that for a free, fair, and credible elections, the voters must be free to vote for whoever they like. Mnangagwa himself was boasting that Zanu PF chairman will be in front. The people will follow behind him. And behind them would be the headman. And they would be frog marched to the polling stations. Did Chamisa plug those vote rigging loopholes? No. ZBC is supposed to be a public media and give equal coverage to all the contestants. Did he do that? Did Chamisa plug that vote rigging loophole? No, he did not. Finances. Zanu PF Mnangagwa must have spent $5 billion US if you add up all the money that he was spending on things like the chicken and chips for the ordinary voters, ordinary people who were passed from one rally to another, to the cars that he bought the chiefs, church leaders. And as we go up the ladder, the MPs and senators were given each $40,000 US. And he called it a housing loan. Deputy ministers, $230,000 US. Ministers, $500,000 each. A few weeks before nomination day, all the judges received $400,000 housing loan. Mnangagwa must have spent at least $5 billion US. That is part of the rigging. Did Chamisa plug any of those vote rigging loopholes? The answer is no. And yet there are some people who still want to believe that he did. It beggars belief. How naive can you be? Some of them insist that he plugged all the vote rigging loopholes. Mnangagwa was only able to win those elections because he was able to announce the results the last minute. So the rigging was done the very last minute with the announcing of the results. That is, of course, nonsense. Why 2 years down the line, 45 years of rigged elections, we're still arguing about what constitutes free, fair, and credible elections? Is a sign that we as a people are not willing to do the hard thing of thinking for ourselves and saying this is not right. Zimbabweans should have known by now that Zanu PF is relying on keeping the ordinary people poor and subservient to the regime. That should be obvious. And yet it is not. Here is a video clip of Margaret Dongo talking about that very point.
They have wrong priorities, especially the current government. How can you go and build an airport which services a few people, and the majority are the elite and the so-called investors? Look at the rural. I made you come to interview me because I wanted you to have the experience of the roads that we are using. If we go today to our hospital there, you feel pity with that's a hospital in a rural area. If we go to our clinic, you feel pity. We have no piped water here. Do you know the reason why the rural people vote for Zanu PF? One, they're intimidated. Two, the policy is that the rural people should remain poor and subservient to the government. They should remain poor, because if they remain poor, they continue singing the song for their master. This is why these people have been impoverished. It's for a reason. Because at the moment, if you economic empower these people, they'll go out of hand. Zanu PF will never have control over them.
Margaret Dongo is right. Why is it that 45 years after independence, Zimbabweans have not realized that point? Why? Because we are failing to think. Those in the urban centers think they've escaped the Zanu PF intimidation in the rural areas and are leaving those in the rural areas to their fate. The reality is, yes, the people in the rural areas are the core face of the failed state. But at the end of the day, we are all paying for it. People are now focused on just getting their daily bread. They're forgetting the opportunity to end the dictatorship. This whole issue of Chamisa telling his people that he has plugged all the vote rigging loopholes. The people are failing to realize the sheer futility of participating in these flawed elections when they've been told without reform, Zanu PF will win those elections. They've been told also that if you participate, you give the regime legitimacy. And yet here we are. 2 million participated in the flawed 2023 elections. And right now, many of those 2 million still do not want to believe that Chamisa lied to them out of greed. How naive can you be? So I've got to agree with Brett. Zimbabweans have really let ourselves down. We have failed to think for ourselves. Man is supposed to be a creature of reason. The ability to think. But if the truth be told, we have not exercised that faculty. Our brains have but ossified. After decades, and in some cases, generations of sloth-like existence. There is absolutely no reason why anyone should live in a grass-thatched hut in this day and age. As much as it may affect only the rural poor who are forced to live in these mud hovels, we, as even those who are in the urban centers, should think about it. You have got to ask yourself, if somebody is being forced to live in a hut like that, what kind of citizen would he make? Do you seriously believe you can have a healthy and functioning democracy when 60 to 70% of the nation's population is living in abject poverty? And this is man-made poverty. Zanu PF has determinedly refused to give the people in the rural area title deeds because the regime feared that if the people have title deeds, economic empowerment, the next thing they would have is political empowerment. And Zanu PF will not allow it. If we had thinking people, we will be saying those people should be allowed to have the title deeds, should be economically empowered, so that they are also politically empowered. And they can now play their meaningful role in a democratic society, make rational decisions, and not be coerced by Zanu PF thugs and proxies, frog marched to go and vote for the regime. As much as we claim we want a better Zimbabwe, a democratic Zimbabwe, we don't deserve it. And that is the tragedy of Zimbabwe. And I believe Brett is right. If you can seriously believe you can have a democratic Zimbabwe, when you have not freed your own mind, when you are not free to think for yourself, you are kidding yourself. Think about it. Thank you very much. Have a good day.